one of the strongest job-creating periods in all of American history. All that and more now on a special Labor Day edition of Graph's Grievances. The statistics are staggering and have defied all expectations. In his first 2 years in office, President Joe Biden overseeing the creation of more new jobs than any president ever in a single 4-year term. And that is really saying something. Not the dot-com boom of the late 1990s or even the Industrial Revolution starting in the 1960s delivered more job creation over such a short period of time than President Joe Biden. All told, 13.5 million new jobs have been added to the U.S. economy since Biden took office in January of 2020. The unemployment rate in the U.S. also falling from 6.3% when former President Donald Trump left office to just 3.8% today. And under Biden, unemployment has been below 4% for the longest stretch in 50 years. 50 years. Driving these remarkable achievements are, of course, the American people, more of whom are employed than at any other time in the past 20 years. And get this, Americans are making more money with wages rising across the board. Real after-tax incomes rising year over year each month since February. As for inflation, a big concern for the White House as voters head to the polls next year, new data showing inflation down by about 2/3 from its peak last summer. And most importantly, wage gains are now outpacing inflation, boosting the purchasing power of the American people. And this good news being shared by all. Under President Biden, pay for low-wage workers has grown at the fastest pace in 2 decades. In addition, in keeping with his pledge to be a president for all Americans, under Biden, the U.S. has seen record low unemployment for African Americans, Hispanic Americans, veterans, and workers without a high school diploma. And President Biden is not stopping there, promising to continue to grow the U.S. economy from the middle out and from the bottom up, should he get reelected to a second term. And unless something absolutely cataclysmic happens in the next 9 months, President Joe Biden will be running for reelection against his former opponent, Donald Trump. Despite the former president now facing 4 criminal prosecutions, his commanding lead over his challengers for the Republican presidential nomination has only grown. According to a new Wall Street Journal poll, Trump is now the top choice of 59% of Republican primary voters. This is up 11% since April. And Trump's lead over his closest rival, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, has nearly doubled since April to 46 percentage points. So with a Trump-Biden rematch a near fait accompli, how do things look for the two very elderly men next year? The Wall Street Journal finding about a dead-even race, with Trump garnering the support of 40% of Americans to Biden's 39%. An additional 17% of Americans saying they are undecided. This polling indicating that despite Trump and Biden being on the scene for a very, very long time, there are still a lot of Americans who have not made up their mind. And while it is true that national polls matter little when it comes to forecasting presidential election results, they do provide insight into the rigidity of the race. And this race looks very fluid, with 17% of Americans still not sure whether they will support Trump or Biden. As for what could sway these voters one way or another is really anyone's guess, but conventional wisdom and polling suggest it's the economy. And therefore, if President Biden is going to win re-election, he must trumpet his historic economic success and not listen to the naysayers in his own party, pushing him to either embrace a more measured message or focus on other issues that do not matter to most voters. Thank you for watching this special Labor Day edition of Graph's Grievances. Let me know what you think. Please subscribe and join me tomorrow for more.